Hello y'all, this is Prime Tron Zero, and today I'm going to be doing another Transformers review about the Decepticon Soundwave. Now, Soundwave is definitely one of my favorite Transformers, you know what I mean? There's a lot of moments of Soundwave that I can remember. Now, he made his first appearance in Transformers Generation 1, you know what I mean? He appeared in the first season, and he was a Decepticon. He was with Megatron. He was definitely he was one of Megatron's Decepticon soldiers, you know what I mean? And he was very loyal, you know what I mean? He was very loyal to Megatron, very loyal, and he had a lot of respect for Megatron. And in his robot mode, he looked kind of similar to Optimus Prime. He had that thing on his mouth that looked like Optimus Prime. He also had like a visor, which looks really cool, you know what I mean, where his eyes is. He had like a red visor. Also, he was very dangerous and very powerful and very wise. Also, he took the form of, in G1, he took the form of a tape recorder, you know what I mean, and he had the ability to he also had other abilities too, to inject other Decepticons, which is Laserbeak, Rumble, Ravage, and many more. You know what I mean? He had the ability to inject different Decepticons from his body, you know what I mean? He had the ability, you know what I mean? Which they were tapes too. They were tapes that come out of him because he was a tape recorder. But he had many Decepticon minions that were very powerful and very dangerous, like Laserbeak, like Ravage, like Rumble. You know what I mean? There was many of them, you know what I mean? And that's what made him so dangerous, is that it wasn't just how strong he was and powerful he was. He had the ability to, you know, he had other Decepticons with him, you know what I mean, that he inject, you know what I mean? It was crazy. He had so many. He had like an army of Decepticon minions that was very dangerous, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I could say about Soundwave that makes him so unique. And his voice is incredible. His voice is so iconic that, you know, it sounds like a computer. You know, one of my favorite Soundwave moments is saying when he says, "As you command, Megatron," and he just has that voice that sounds like a computer, and it just sounds amazing. You know what I mean? He just had that voice like no other. You know, he was just really cool. He was a cool Decepticon. And he was a tape recorder in G1. Now, he made many appearances throughout the seasons of G1. He also appeared in the Transformers animated movie, in 1986 animated movie. But he also appeared in many other versions of Transformers. He appeared in Transformers Prime. He also appeared in Transformers Robots in Disguise. He'd appeared in a lot of Transformers comics. You know what I mean? Definitely, you know, he made a lot of appearances in the comics. He also made his first appearance in the Transformers live-action movies. Now, he made his appearance in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And he took the form, he was out of space. He took the form of, I think he was sort of like a Cybertronian satellite. He took the form of something. And he was out of space, but he was giving the Decepticons tabs on what was happening on down Earth. And he was communicating. He was giving them he was sort of like a communication. He was giving them he was the one that found out what Megatron body was, you know what I mean? And he also found out that he let the Decepticons know that he was like Decepticons. We have located the shard. And even in the live-action movie, I really liked him when they introduced him in Revenge of the Fallen, because when they showed him, I was like, man, that looks exactly like Soundwave. They had the visor. He even had the thing like Optimus, you know what I mean? And, you know, I like the live-action movie Soundwave. Now, in Revenge of the Fallen, the person that did his voice was the guy that did the I think his name is Frank Welker. It was the guy who originally did the voice of Megatron in G1, you know what I mean, which was really cool. And he did an amazing job doing the voice of Soundwave in the live action movies, you know what I mean. So Soundwave made his appearance in Transformers, his first live action movie appearance, and Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen. He also made a third appearance in Transformers Dark of the Moon. But in Revenge of the Fallen, he had Decepticon minions, which was Brains, that was one of his minions, and his other minions that he introduced in Revenge of the Fallen was Ravage, you know what I mean? And I love Ravage in Revenge of the Fallen. I love his design. I like how they gave us Ravage from G1. And I like how, you know what I mean, you know, they introduce, you know, characters that we, you know, that's familiar to fans. So I really like how not only we got Soundwave, but we got Ravage in Revenge of the Fallen, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it was just really cool to see them on the big screen in the live action. I just love their designs too, you know what I mean? How they brought them to life. But he also made many other debuts in Transformers Robots in Disguise. He made appearance in Transformers Robots in Disguise. He made an appearance. But he made a lot of appearances throughout the different generations of Transformers, you know. They even have the Masterpiece toy of Soundwave, you know what I mean? And I just gotta say that he's definitely one of my favorite Decepticons all time. And he also appeared in Transformers Prime. You know, he made many appearances, and he had different off modes. Now, he also was in Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon, and this is when his look, they went more further with his look. You know what I mean? He had more screen time in Dark of the Moon. You know, one of my favorite parts is when he says Soundwave rebooting Lord Megatron. And at the end is one of my favorite Soundwave moments is when he says, no prisoners, only trophies. And he was one of the Decepticons that was trying to they had all the other Autobots. He held them hostage. He had Ratchet hostage, and he had Bumblebee, and he had Q hostage. You know what I mean? And he was no joke. You know what I mean? He was definitely no joke. You know what I mean? And you know, and in Dark of the Moon, he had Laserbeak. That's when they introduced Laserbeak, you know what I mean? And Laserbeak, I love his design in Transformers Dark of the Moon. I love his G1 design, and I love Ravage G1 design, but I love the live-action movie Ravage and the live-action movie Laserbeak as well, you know? But I love the G1 designs too, you know what I mean? And the comic book designs. But I want to know, what's your favorite version of Soundwave, y'all? You know what I mean? And what's your favorite Soundwave moment? You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the Soundwave character. I really like his. You know, he's definitely a very strong and very powerful Decepticon. He's a very dangerous foe because he also has minions that's very dangerous. You know what I mean? And it's like when he comes, he always comes prepared. That's one thing I can say about Soundwave. He's always prepared. And you know, with things, even if things get tough, he'll stick in there. He's very tough, and he has his minions that serve him. You know, he has his own army of nasty Decepticon minions, which is Rumble, Ravage, Laserbeak, and many more. You know what I mean? And one thing I could say is that he's always given the Decepticons a scoop, and he's always given them info on what's going on, you know what I mean, and where things are. Like, he was the one that gave the Decepticons the scoop to say, to tell them that, you know, we located the shard, we found the piece of the Allspark, He also found out where Megatron's body was dumped at. He had all of that. It's like he can see where they were saying, and he could see them, and he could also hear what they were saying when Optimus was telling them about the fallen, even the fallen, you know what I mean? So it's something how, you know what I mean, and he, that was his doing. He was the one that got the shard, you know what I mean? Especially with the help of his minions, Ravage. Ravage is no joke, you know what I mean? So, but in Transformers Dark of the Moon, he had a different off mode. He took the form, he had a different design too. His design was more better. He took the form of a car. He took the form of the new Mercedes-Benz. I think it was SRS. He took SRS. He took the form of the one of the new Mercedes, yeah. And turns out he was the car that Carly was driving all along. He was secretly the car that she was driving. And when the time was right, he captured Carly and held her hostage. And looked like he was going to, take her life. Until Sam was saying, stop, you know what I mean? Because he was, the guy that Carly was working for. He was working with the Decepticons. He was like a bad version of Sam. He was, you know what I mean? They were like, like Soundwave was like his guardian. You know what I mean? It was, you know what I mean? So, it's something, though. But I really love his design. I love Laserbeak's design. I love his design from Dark of the Moon. I love his Revenge of the Fallen design. You know what I mean? I love his design, and I love his minions. How they gave us how the live action movie gave us the minions, that we remembered from even the old cartoons, you know what I mean? Even from G1. But it's really cool that, that we got Laserbeak, we got Ravage. You know what I mean? It was awesome. You know what I mean? And I really love his design. And I love his off mode. He took the form of a Mercedes-Benz. And he seemed like he had powerful guns that he has. Like, he also has the ability to shoot shock waves. Like, to shoot sound waves from his body. Loud. And it was really strong. That's what makes him powerful, too. Like, he can shoot, like, sound. He can make, like, a lot of noise. Like, he can make, like, you know what I mean? He can make, like, sound waves, like, energy waves, and, stun, Autobots. He could make them, you know what I mean? So, he had a lot of firepower, and he was very intelligent, and very loyal to Megatron, you know what I mean? I have to say, he was just as loyal as what Shockwave was, He was definitely one of those Decepticons that was very loyal to Megatron. He was very trustworthy, but he's very vicious, and he doesn't like humans, and he only obeys Megatron, you know what I mean? He looks up to Megatron. He even obeyed him when Megatron became Galvatron, you know what I mean? He still served him, you know what I mean? And he still, followed orders. He was very loyal. And I have to say, he's definitely one of my favorite Decepticons of all time, Soundwave. I love his G1 design, but I also love the live-action movie Soundwaves. But I want to know from my subscribers, what's your favorite Soundwave moment? And what's your favorite version of Soundwave? Is it the Transformers Prime Soundwave? Is it the comic book version of Soundwave? Is it the G1 version of Soundwave? Or is it the live-action movie version of Soundwave? He also made many appearances in the games, in the Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon game. He also appeared in Transformers War of Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, you know what I mean? So, and there's a lot of toys they have of him too. A lot of toys, Masterpiece toys, and it's just really cool. He's a very popular character. And it's something how his character was able to stay relevant for all these years, because that proves how popular he is. And I notice a lot of people like him, and I'm a big fan of